I can bring you in warm, or I can bring you in cold.
Hello there.
This is where the fun begins.
What's going on, guys? Unofficial Star Wars here. Hope you all doing well. And in today's video, we have a very exciting news update here for The Mandalorian Season 4. So without further ado, we're going to hop right on into it. The Mandalorian show director and writer and show's creator, Jon Favreau, had recently come out in an interview to state that he has actually started writing for The Mandalorian Season 4, meaning that the show's fourth season is currently in development and in progression. For when we could possibly potentially see the fourth season of The Mandalorian is completely unknown. What it would be about, completely unknown. However, let's have a read here from the Star Wars The Directs article. As per usual, I'm going to have that full article linked down in the description down below as always. As it states, even with new Star Wars Disney Plus offerings such as Obi-Wan Kenobi and Andor, fans are eager to continue the story of The Mandalorian and the spin-offs surrounding it, including the Book of Boba Fett, Ahsoka, and Rangers of the New Republic. As the Mandoverse expands with the Book of Boba Fett, Ahsoka, and Rangers of the New Republic, and now Skeleton Crew, Lucasfilm has big plans for the future, which is and will be next explored in The Mandalorian Season 3. With Season 3 on the way to Disney Plus in February 2023, as it was confirmed here recently in Star Wars Celebration in the Mando Plus panel, after footage was also just recently shown at Star Wars Celebration yet to be released online publicly here. It is currently leaking here and there, and for what I would have to say about that quite personally, guys, just wait to see the actual thing for when it releases. It'll be a much more better and enjoyable experience. Most of the leaked footage out there is totally blurry, out of frame, and it has horrible audio. No offense to those of you that maybe potentially took that risk to record that footage for Mando Season 3 and its teaser trailer. However, I digress and continue on here with the Directs article. Plans are already underway for Season 4 and beyond. Moff Gideon actor Giancarlo Esposito teased the fourth season entry over a year ago as he promised the next two seasons will be when viewers are, quote, really gonna start to get answers, ending quote there. Despite these comments and teases from various actors and cast and crew members, Lucasfilm is yet to make an official statement about everything beyond the third season. Fans will probably be waiting until after Season 3 concludes for a proper announcement, but Ron Creative behind The Mandalorian just offered an exciting Season 4 update. At Star Wars Celebration, The Mandalorian creator Jon Favreau himself confirmed with Cinema Blend that he has begun writing Season 4. After sharing his love for the television format, Favreau explained that the writing Dave Filoni is doing for Ahsoka is, quote, very much informing, ending quote there, the work he is doing on The Mandalorian Season 4. My personal takeaway from that is that it's really going to offer a lot of different connections and really blend everything together into one expansive universe, as it really is called the Mandoverse. I personally would really like to see a better connection between the Book of Boba Fett and the Mandalorian universe, especially with a Book of Boba Fett Season 2. I think is something very well needed. In quotes from the Mandalorian show director Jon Favreau himself, in a recent interview with Cinema Blend at Star Wars Celebration, in quotes, with television, we're very lucky that we don't have to rush things through into an hour and a half, 2 hours, like a movie. We get to tell stories slowly, so now as Dave Filoni's doing Ahsoka, it's very much informing the writers that I'm doing for The Mandalorian Season 4. It becomes, how should I put it, more precise. End quote right there from Jon Favreau himself. The article says Favreau went on to explain how writing the Disney Plus series differs from when it first began, as there are now more questions he has to answer and elements that have to connect, which makes for a very fertile ground of storytelling, he says. In another quote from Jon Favreau himself, he states, when I was writing the first season of Mandalorian, I could do anything, set it to anywhere. Dave Filoni would read it, would go back and forth, I would adjust it, and there it was. Now we have to figure out why there are certain Mandalorians who wear helmets, certain ones who don't wear helmets, what's happening on Mandalore, what's Bo-Katan doing at the time, how does she feel about that, where is the Darksaber, so it really creates very fertile ground for imagination, for storytelling. End quote there from Jon Favreau once again. As the Directs article says, the Mandalorian director, when discussed how the series has grown over time from a continued story about a bounty hunter to a much larger tale in the Star Wars galaxy, Favreau gave particular praise to Filoni. In quotes, he says, deep understanding of how everything around the time period, ending quote right there, which has led to certain characters coming into the fold. Jon Favreau states, I think that's inevitably, no matter how simple you start, the story threads start to connect and weave an overlap, and with Dave Filoni's deep understanding of everything around the time period, opportunities will always arise when we have story meetings and conversations about, well, you know, what character would be here now? I mean, that's really how the Luke thing happened, he says, ending quote right there. The filmmaker turned his attention to Luke Skywalker's surprise appearance in Season 2 finale of The Mandalorian, sharing that his inclusion wasn't, quote, necessarily planned, ending quote there, but as they looked for a mentor for Grogu, it started to make sense for it not to be Luke, he says. That's what the article goes on to say, and what they mean by that is that who else would, of course, be some type of mentor figure here for Grogu during this time period of when the Mandoverse is taking place. The first person that has to come to mind that has these Force abilities and Force powers, and that would almost be at kind of like a master type of rank here, of course, would have to be either Ahsoka Tano, who kind of has really mentored Grogu a bit here and there, and I think that's something that's going to be continue doing here throughout the future seasons of The Mandalorian, and really the overall combination of the Mandalorian universe, however, also with Luke Skywalker and his character as well. We could even have Cal Kestis, I very well believe, show up at some point in time to do a little bit of training and a little bit of mentorship for Grogu as well here for this time period. Jon Favreau goes on to say, it wasn't that we necessarily planned to include Luke Skywalker in Season 2, but as we were looking for Grogu to get training, we started to weigh out, well, what Jedi are around, who's left, and it started to not make sense for it to not be Luke. As we started to tell stories, those stories take on lives of their own, and they have trajectories, and as those trajectories begin to organically intersect, larger stories with more characters start to make more sense. Ending the quote there from Jon Favreau, The Mandalorian show's creator, writer, and director. And I believe what he means from this is that we're going to eventually, evidently, whenever and how far overall the Mandalorian universe expands and continues to go, it's going to continue to pick up all types of different Star Wars characters that are new and old, the ones that are already out there and ones that we are yet to learn about. The direct article goes on to say, The Mandalorian Endgame. There are currently recent rumors and mumblings that The Mandalorian may be renamed after Season 4, as the current story comes to an end and moves on to new stories with the same characters. So potentially this could maybe mean maybe Bo-Katan picking up the show here, and maybe Pedro Pascal's Mandalorian goes off somewhere else to live a happy life maybe. With Giancarlo Esposito promising answers in the next 2 seasons, these claims may well prove true as the current story involving the throne of Mandalore comes to an end. Jon Favreau and Dave Filoni have long promised that they have a direction planned for the Mandoverse, with many spin-offs all expected to eventually converge into a blockbuster event, meaning something that could be released in theaters. The Mandalorian Season 4 would be this highly anticipated crossover, bringing characters and stories from the various series together. Din Djarin actor Pedro Pascal recently shared his interest in making a movie in the Mandoverse. Perhaps a theatrical event may be the perfect way to cross over all of these projects for a climatic battle, although it would be an odd move to abandon Disney Plus for the finale of a storyline that has been told entirely on the service there and created there on the service there. Potential Mandalorian type of movie is something that has been talked about here and there, but seeing official talkings from it, especially coming from Pedro Pascal, Din Djarin, is very interesting and very cool, quite honestly, I think and believe. I definitely do think a Mandalorian type of movie, especially if it's a big climatic type of thing, like the end game of it all, that's just where they're going to end the story with all of the characters there. They all go their separate ways, and they all live a separate, happy life type of thing, and have a meaningful conclusion to their stories and arcs, I think is something that they could pull off and actually make work. In my thoughts and opinions, I believe that's something that comes down to marketing and getting people and individuals aware that they are doing something like that would be released into theaters rather than actually having something on Disney Plus. With Favreau and Filoni already planning Season 4 of The Mandalorian, there's a chance the wait after Season 3 may be far shorter than the last. Pedro Pascal's schedule appears to be much more open this time around, and now that his commitments to The Last of Us have been now completed, Lucasfilm has a 25-year-old period to work with between the current story of The Mandalorian and the rise of the First Order and into the sequel trilogy. One interesting approach after Season 4 could be to make a major time jump of several years to move slightly closer closer towards The Force Awakens. The Mandalorian Season 3 will premiere on Disney Plus in February 2023 as the article ends there. Now, let's take a step back here and talk about this a little bit. Yes, something that has been confirmed for quite some time now at this point in time is that the Mandalorian universe has been confirmed by Jon Favreau and Dave Filoni to be moving towards the sequel trilogy. That's just how it works. That's just how it's all set up in the timeline as of right now and for what we do know. The Mandalorian's universe taking place in 5 years after the events of the Return of Jedi. There's a 30-year-old gap there between Return of the Jedi and from The Force Awakens. So yes, it's inevitable to see the sequel trilogy and those connections actually appearing here within this timeline of these shows here and within the Mandoverse, which I would believe to be very cool. It's going to help explain more and set more stuff up. However, when the article goes on to say that they could potentially have some type of time jump here of several years to move slightly closer to The Force Awakens, I honestly, in my thoughts and opinions, have to disagree with this if for anything. I'm not necessarily saying that they should and could milk it out here, but yeah, they could milk it out. There's plenty of stories and adventures to be told of the Mandalorian and Grogu, and who wouldn't love to see it? In full transparency, yeah, people would watch it and it would make Disney money. It's just the fact of it that it needs to be good. So, in conclusion, seeing that Season 4 of The Mandalorian is currently being developed and is actually in its writing stages is very promising for it to be sooner than later, of course, as the article says. Seeing that Season 3 of The Mandalorian is going to be coming out in February 2023, that's something that was confirmed at Star Wars Celebration, a part of its Mando Plus panel. I'm going to go ahead and take a wild guess, and yes, I'm more than likely destined to change this in the future, that we could either see Season 4 by the end of 2023 or the beginning of 2024. Yeah, it's a wild guess, but hey, it's out there and I think it's a little bit legit, to be honest with you guys. They could begin pre-production and actual filming here in the winter, I would believe, of the year of 2022, of course. That leaves plenty of time for them to do editing, post-production, reshoots, and marketing, very important for Season 4, to be released by the end of 2023. Of course, I want all of your thoughts and opinions in the comment section down below. Some things that you would like to see in Season 3 of The Mandalorian, and some stuff that you'd also like to be seen in Season 4 of The Mandalorian. When do you guys think we're going to be seeing Season 4 of The Mandalorian as well, is something I would also like to know. Let me know all of your thoughts and opinions in the comment section down below. And drop a like in the video if you enjoy it, as it really just helps the channel, and check out Instagram on Official Star Wars for more Star Wars content, guys. Thanks so much for watching today's video. As always, be the Force be with you. I'll catch you guys in the next one. Peace out.